It's not you. When the student clicks on the test button here, the test button, here comes the word test. This word test means how long do you give the student? How long do you give the student? Someone tell me, how long should I give Sami? The correct answer is that you give him about 15 minutes. This means you open the door for the student to enter the test for 15 minutes. It means you open the door for the student. He enters the test for 15 minutes. His test starts at 6 o'clock, for example. So I write 6. Pay attention to the difference between morning and evening. 6 in the evening. So it's 6 in the evening. How long is it? 15 minutes. So it's 6:15. If you click from here, it will be 6:15. So I come at 6 and there's nothing at 6:15, Dr. Sami. It's fine, no problem. Click on 6:15 like that. And then go ahead and shade it like this. And click on the word 0. 6 and then shift with CAF like this and say 15. There you go, 6:15. So you open the test icon for him, which means he can enter the test for quarter of an hour. Okay, we need to do this right so that there are no issues, because they have a lot of problems with the tests. We agreed that it will be available from 6 to 6:15. So let's make it 6:15 before. Let's keep things simple. 6 for 6 and 3. So after a quarter past 6, then 2 dots together, and then 3. All right. So the student has 3 hours ahead of him. So what can you tell me, Dr. Sam? I mean, the student who comes at 6 can enter, and how long does the test open for him? It opens for him for an hour. And the student who comes at 6:30 exactly can enter, and it also opens for him for an hour, because cheating prevented me from doing so. I didn't let it go. So if a student comes at 6:19, he can enter and it opens for him for an hour. As soon as he gets in, that's it. But the one who comes at 6:21 won't be able to enter. The test is gone for him because you opened the test. So we always set it for diplomas at 6:30. Why? Because as a university student, he has the opportunity to enter the test within half an hour, since it's a critical test. So we make it for 30 minutes. All right, you won't take the test with a password because the test won't be visible to the student until the 30th at 6 p.m. So don't worry, I make it available and it won't show to the student until the 30th at 6 p.m. You won't take the test with a password because the test won't be visible to the student until the 30th at 6 p.m. Don't worry, I'm making it available and it won't be visible to the student until 30th at 6 p.m. Don't say I'll do it. I'll do it. It's available and it won't appear to the student until 6 o'clock today. 30 at 6 p.m. I'll go down now. What do I need these exceptions for? I need these exceptions in case a student has a problem during the test time. I'll explain it after the test is over. Just go down, don't activate any entitlements, don't do any assignments, don't do anything. Just go down, go down, go down completely. You have 3 options. If you want all questions on one page, keep it, but I don't recommend it. If you want questions one by one, choose that. I recommend it. Always show questions one by one to prevent cheating. Choose it for all questions on one page. If you choose the first option, I don't recommend it. Then there's an option to prevent going back. We don't recommend it for diplomas. Use it in morning session, not for diplomas. It means students can revisit previous questions. But if they exit, they can't revisit. Leave it as students might review if time allows. So you choose the first option, and I don't recommend it. Then there's the option to prevent going back. We also don't recommend that for diplomas. You might use it in the morning sessions, but we don't recommend it for diplomas. What does that mean? If a student wants to go back to a previous question, they can go back and see it. If that's the case, can they exit the test? No, they can't go back to see a previous question. So leave it like that, because a student might want to review if they have time. If that's the case, he can exit the test. No, he can't go back to see a previous question. Just leave it like that, because the student might want to review if they have time. Here, this is very important, and this is very important too. These are the correct settings for the test. Here, I present the test all at once, meaning question by question, and randomize the questions. This is very important. This is the reason, as it is, that after the student finishes the test, the result appears for them. Here is the date and time of the test icon, and here is the duration of the test, and here is the word, availability. These settings create a test. The test appears on the student's page. The test won't show till the 30th at 6 p.m. If during the exam a student says, "Doctor, I have a problem," and it happens during the test or availability, the icon won't show. I click Edit Test Options, then go to Exceptions. This is for the student with a problem. Click to add them. Assume it's this student. Add them. Tell them to give 2 attempts instead of 1 if they faced an issue during the test. If they didn't enter, 1 attempt. If they entered, faced a problem, give 2 attempts. I come in here, select this, click on Edit Test Options. Then I go to the word Exceptions. I click here to add them. Assume it's this student. Add them. Now I would tell them to give them 2 attempts instead of 1 because they entered and faced an issue for any reason. If they didn't enter at all, it would just be 1 attempt. If interrupted, give 2 attempts. They need the chance to take the test. Leave time, set date as 30th. Start at 6:30. Allow until 6:30. 2 attempts instead of 1 due to an issue. If they didn't enter at all, it would just be 1 attempt. But if they entered and had a problem with the internet or faced any issue, professors should accept it as 2 attempts because they need to have the opportunity to take the test. Leave the time and set the date as the 30th. Keep in mind that the student will only have until 6:30. Start at 6:30. Allow until 7 by. Reduce or keep it and click Submit. Repeat for another student. This student can enter after 6:30. For the test to be available, keep the time and set the date here, 30th above and below. Remember, the student will have until 6:30. Start at 6:30. Allow entry until 6:30 or 7. Reduce it or click Submit. For another student, repeat. This student can enter after 6:30 due to a problem, as the test is ongoing. Instead of college bureaucracy, I can give an exception now. After the test, no entry. They must request an excuse at college. This allows the student to enter until 6:30 or 7 how. You can adjust this and click Submit. For another student, repeat the steps. I've given this student an exception to enter after 6:30 due to a problem as the test is ongoing. Instead of dealing with college bureaucracy, I can grant an exception now. After the test, no entry is allowed. They must request an excuse at the college. During the test, if the excuse is valid, you can allow entry. After the test, if exceptions are reviewed and a student was let in, it could be problematic. During the test, you have authority. If a student has internet issues and valid reasons, you can accommodate them. Due to test issues, I can grant exceptions now. After the test, students must request an excuse at the college. During the test, if you find the excuse valid, you can allow them in. If the college finds you let a student in post-test, it could be problematic. During the test, you have authority. If a student contacts you with a valid issue, accommodate them. If anything is unclear or you have questions, we can conclude the session. For inquiries, I'm here with Dr. Khaled. Please proceed, Dr. Khaled. As long as it's still during the test time and you, as a professor, see that the excuse is valid, you can let the student in. But after the test ends, if the college looks into the exceptions and sees that you allowed a student in after the test, it could create a big problem for you. As long as it's still during the test time, you have the authority as a faculty member. If a student reaches out to you and says they have an issue with the internet or something else, and you see that the student is capable and has valid reasons, you can accommodate them. Any questions, everyone? Or anything that's not clear? We have finished the session, and if there's any inquiry or anything unclear, of course, there's the training tomorrow for anyone who wants to join, if there's any question or anything that's not clear. I'm here with Dr. Khaled. Please go ahead, Dr. Khaled. Dr. Khaled, why'd you raise your hand? May God reward you, Khaled. Thank you, Dr. Amadan. Thank you, Dr. Rasha. God bless you all. Thank you, Dr. Aman. Thank you, Dr. Khaled. You raised your hand. You have the mic, so you can speak. If you have a problem with the mic, just write your question. Dr. Khaled, the lecture is recorded, and we will send you the recording, God willing. Dr. Khalif Al-Atabi, indeed you raised your hand. Thank you very much.
I tried with the mic, but there was a problem. Thank you, Doctor. Regarding the tests, the test settings and creation through Blackboard are only needed for midterm exams. Can you correct this information for me, Doctor? Because the final exams, as I understood, that it should be in person. Is that correct, Doctor? No. The test settings are the same for both midterms and finals, in both the midterm and final exams, in terms of configuration and setup.
Yes. Diplomas have a policy that all tests are online. Yes. Diplomas are different from 8 evening diplomas. Students from different places across the kingdom, like one from Sakaka, one from the city, one from here and there. We can't gather them all in one place. So far, I haven't seen any instructions regarding the exams, but what's known since the announcement of the diplomas is that the midterm and final exams are online. Yes, that's what I know.
But let's wait and see if there are any other instructions, God willing. Regarding the recording, Doctor, could you send it to me? Once it's ready, I'll send you the recording after the lecture ends, God willing. Thank you, Doctor. Should I send it to Dr. Hamad, or should I send it to you, the coordinator for Hamad, Dr. Khaled? No, that's not a problem. You can send it to Dr. Hamad, and he will, God willing, share it with the colleagues.
We trust God.
May God give you health. Thank you.
Okay.
Peace be upon you.
Thank you. Peace be upon you. Is there any question, everyone, or anything that's not clear? Okay. Tomorrow, God willing, you'll have Dr. Abdul Rahman with you. And the day after tomorrow, you'll have Dr. Ibal Yohannes Saeed Al-Asi. If there's anything that's not understood or anything unclear, I'll clarify it, God willing. My sincere regards, and may God bless you. This was Dr. Sami Safan, Associate Professor of Computer Science at the Applied College and the e-learning consultant and Director of Electronic Exams. My sincere regards